Okay, this is not your typical video on fixing harsh light or put a giant softbox or use a bunch of stuff in post to fix it. Those can be important, but we're gonna talk about something much more creative today. Harsh light. You know, here I am right now, the sun's setting, everything's pretty glowy and soft. And I just did a session where I had these different types of light. In the real world, we sometimes get in situations where we have no control, even with a flash, and the light's gonna be harsh. Hard light isn't what we think it is. It's all how you use it. Yes, sometimes you'll still get in harsh sunlit situations where you just have to deal with it and you have to do the best you can in post. But I'm gonna show you the tips today of how, even without a flash, to deal with hard light, to soften hard light, to filter hard light in portraits and in different situations so that hard light becomes beautiful light. Okay, let's go back to the studio. Let's look at some of these images from this session I just did with Kendra earlier this week where we had this mixed light. Went down by the lake and it was good. The light settled nicely, but it was a little harsh to begin with. So I had kind of this intense light and I thought about throwing on the 8200, which is what a logical person would do, right? And then it was giving me fits and I was like, let's just shoot this. Here's the thing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take the correct lights and set them up. I'm not saying you shouldn't use the reflectors. But one of the reasons I love what I call these little side quest sessions that don't have any pressure, where we're just going out to practice modeling, taking photos, is I can exercise, I can flex my abilities to find solutions to problems when things aren't the way I want them to be. Now, I've gone through and edited this session, and these came out really cute. But I'm actually going to focus on a few photos today to show you what I mean. Sure, we could talk about the normal harsh light wedding photo that you got to deal with. And I am kind of an expert on these because I'm always trying to find ways in post-production to balance this out, to make it into presets like elegance, where you can deal with things when you have to and make it work. Harsh light is just a reality. And so in packs like PowerFlow and Natural HDR, I have tools specifically to deal with harsh sun and try and balance it out. And there's various ways to do this, whether you're dealing with curves or masks or black and white or the way you lift shadows and mix them. Or there's the Tone Restore Duo preset in Elegance that I use to balance out shadows and things like that in portraits. And all of these different tools, masks and shadows and highlights, and then the way you mix them and the way you add color to them can be really good, all the way up to even painting in details to restore blown out highlights, which I also have videos about on this channel. But today's is not really about that. Today's video is less about when everything is wrong and you're desperately trying to fix it, and more about how you manage conditions of harsh light when things aren't quite like what you want. You can see that, yes, I did use the highlight warm bloom, which I showed you how to make in the recent video that I did on Lightroom masks. I'll link that in the comments if you want to check it out further. But I said this video was going to be different, right? Well, it is, because it's not just about editing. And there's another thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that's the lens. See, I took two lenses out on the Nikon ZF. I have my adapted Sony 85mm 1.8, which is a great all-arounder portrait lens. But I also had this new Auto Sears 55mm 1.4. This is a classic vintage lens from probably the 70s. And while it says Sears on the front, this was actually the same lens as the Rikenon Rikenon 55 1.4, which gets amazing marks, but it is, of course, much softer. It gets a lot more flares, a lot more reflections. Now, I did some photos on the 85 as well, but mostly I used this lens for this session. If we go back to here, we can see that this is a nice photo, but we're getting too much highlight right here on the skirt, on the legs, despite my processing, which did help, because here's the raw and here's our result after a few presets and tweaks. But these lenses do something special. I almost never put a lens hood on a lens, modern or new, because I actually use light reflecting off the lens and flares and things like that to help frame subjects and help soften the scene. On these old lenses in particular, all this is true to agree on all lenses, when you start getting reflections off these lenses and glare and flare, it softens everything up. It reduces the contrast. Now, I know people who review lens and want to sell you really expensive lenses are always telling you, oh, this lens is so contrasty, it's so sharp. But in reality, especially in portraits, oftentimes that's not a net gain. It makes the images too sharp and too harsh. I love these vintage lenses for this reason. But even if I reset it, this lens is kind of famous for its soap bubbly type bokeh. It's a little bit hectic, but it's kind of helping me, giving me this swirl to soften up the scene. And you can see that the way the lower contrast is hitting, I'm getting a softer feel overall. But here is number 2 that's almost never talked about in harsh light, and that is blocking. Now, when we think of scrims and lighting, you think of putting a big scrim up here to filter the sunlight and make it like a softbox. Okay, that's great, but usually if you're out doing a quick session, you don't have everything you need to set that up. What I'm talking about here is scrimming the light naturally, whether it be by plants or just shifting your direction so you're slightly behind a tree, or mixing that with just moving a little bit. As photographers, we often forget what I talk about all the time in my shadow hacking live classes, and I'll put a link to that in the comments as well to my next free class. And that is that we think light, 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 but what actually is happening is we're making ugly shadows when we have that harsh light. We need things to roll off smoothly. We need the contrast lines to not be too harsh. If you look at this one, this was on the 85, so we have a pretty sharp, clean lens here. And yet we're still getting this mistiness. Well, this isn't lens flare. This is just me standing in front of the plants. And you can see it in the behind the scenes videos. And if I go through these, not only do I get a nice framing effect, and yes, I was right there moving, fiddling with the focus, trying to get it locked on her as I looked through a little hole in the plants. And that gave me this lovely framing. And while shooting through plants and things like that is not really rare, I don't think a lot of times we think about it in terms of softening a scene. If I just shot this way into the sun around the same time, we were getting that nice afternoon light, but with no flash, there was no softening and flowing to the shadows. There was the shadowy part and the highlight part. By changing the angle of the model a little bit to not be quite so harsh, and then filtering or softening that harsh light using the natural elements, everything changed. In the end, I was glad I didn't use the flash. Now, if you're on a paid session, or especially if you're on a wedding or a quince or something like that, and you have to get the photos, well, yeah, bring all your gear and make sure it's ready to go. But this is why I do sessions like this, so that I am flexed and ready when I am under pressure. You can see that because we were right on this lake shore, there was a lot of sunlight coming in, even when it was low in the sky, provided quite a bit of harshness. But by filtering, not always in extreme ways, this one, for example, is a lot more subtle, but we're not only framing the photo with the plants and the trees and the lovely flowers that kind of make this warmth around, but we're also using it to soften things. By just moving 1 inch and having a flower kind of blurred out close in front of the lens, you get a natural effect that fits with the scene, but what's it doing? It's softening the harsh light. It's avoiding things like this, where while her face does look pretty good and overall the photo's okay, there's way too much light hitting back here. Now we're back to the 55 Auto Series Rikenon, and you can see I'm intentionally utilizing these really intense flares and things on the lens. Again, on the 55, and you can see that kind of distinct swirly soap bubble bokeh. I have to say I use a lot of vintage lenses, and this one is kind of a cult classic that you'll only see talked about in some videos and among some vintage lens fans. And I didn't expect much. And when I put this on and saw the photos for like the $60 that I paid for this, I was pretty blown away. Even though the light's intense here, this lower contrast of this lens, the way that we're getting artifacts and flaring optically, it's actually allowing us to create the scene really nicely. More flares, more softening. This one is still pretty harsh and needs a little work. Now, I've already put filters and presets and things like that on this. The raw file on this particular one is way harsher. So you can see that I recovered quite a bit. But if I really wanted to fix something at this level, where you're getting into parts of the scene being clipped, something you might experience sometime in a wedding dress if you didn't have time to set up the light, things like that. Sometimes you actually have to go into pixel painting, which is where you take it into Photoshop and you actually paint the color over it. I will put a link to a pixel painting video because that is how you fix the most extreme situations. This doesn't have to be complicated. What I really want to emphasize, and the reason I picked this session for this, is not because it was the worst light ever, just because the situation I was in and I was not using full flash, I got a bit of harshness. And the three things that change that are not in post-production are simple. Number one, the lens you use and how much contrast it's giving you. More contrast is not always better. Number two, how you position the subject. So don't get stuck like, oh, I got a great sunset, I got to shoot into the sunset. Anytime you do a photo like this, and I see this in photo groups all the time, like I wanted to shoot a beautiful sunset, but the faces are dark. If you do this photo and do not have a fill flash, the face is going to be dark. That's not always bad. Sometimes you want a dark image, but just lifting the shadows, while it may kind of save you, it's not going to make it a great image because it's going to have that kind of gray recovered look. You can recover a lot of shadows. They're actually easier to recover than highlights, which is why you should almost never expose to the right. That's another video here on the channel. Some of them were too harsh, so I shifted the angle of the model a little bit, but still there was all that harsh light sprinkling through the trees, creating harsh shadows. So what did I do? I moved into the trees. I put branches in front. I set the model inside the branches, but there is a third option that's also based on how you see in camera. If we look at this photo from this recent beach wedding, you can see I had sun going down. I had flashes. I could have stopped and put flashes in, but I was looking for feeling and for emotion. In the end, I used a Kodachrome 64 look from Filmist on this, and I did not push it hard. And this is the third thing, is lean into the shadow. And this is what we talk about a lot in my Shadow Hackers classes. We have this tendency that we always need to take a photo and it's dark and therefore we push it up. We don't need to. If you look at this, it's not actually a silhouette. There's detail. We can see who's there. We can have a little bit of grain in the scene. It's a little bit imperfect and shadowed. There's a little bit of lens flare. But we're not following this traditional norm of everything has to be illuminated. So the third option in camera is plan your photo, because this wasn't an accident. Plan your photo and your exposure for shadows. But notice how I intentionally threw to the backlight on these to utilize that bright contrast and create that drama. I didn't want a strobe and a flash here because I was leaning in to the natural intensity of the light. Now, this isn't a noonday sun situation, and I get it. Sometimes we have to fix things afterward, like I've talked about in various points in this video, but lean into what you can do with the scene. I love this photo here. It's not the sharpest, but it looks good. Overall, the harshness is taken out by the trees, by the angle, and by the lens. Okay, so a quick recap. You can do quite a bit in post, as I showed you on some of the examples today, but that shouldn't be your crutch. So what are the more creative options? The creative option is to use your scene. Use the scene around you to create something that's not only more dynamic and creative and interesting as a composition, but don't just think of it as composition. Use the elements of your scene to reduce the harshness of the light and, by extension, the shadow. I hope that you found this useful. I will put links to everything I mentioned in the description, and you guys let me know what you think and your favorite tips, because it doesn't just have to be plants. What do you use to control a scene, not just compositionally, but to make the light warmer, the colors softer, and your subjects more beautiful? We'll see you next time. Peace.